Welcome back to another live stream. Almost forgot to unmute the microphone. Hi, how is everyone doing? Hope you guys are doing great. And as usual, before we dive in too far, just want to make sure that the audio is fine. You guys can hear the microphone. There's no problem like echoes or distortion, or even if you guys can see me at all, right? Just let me know in the chat if everything is working fine. And while waiting for some feedback, let me have some coffee. Coffee first, always. Let's check a few things. Just got some feedback already. All right. Thanks for the feedback, Jari Hikari. As usual, I will respond to the chats from members first. If you are a member, your name will be highlighted in green color, and there is a star badge next to your name, right? But don't worry, I'll get to everyone. Just be a little bit patient with me. I'll go through every single chat as usual. Mike says, good morning, Robin. Good morning to you too, Mike. How are you? Gregory says, hello, everyone. Audio and video is good. Not sure why this is not coming up. Nice seeing you again, Gregory. Tomato says, good evening, Robin and everyone. Hey, Tomato, how are you? Zoltan says, good evening, Robin, and hello, everyone from Maryland. Let's do this. Yes, let's do this, Zoltan. Roger says, hi, everyone from New England. Hey, Roger, how are you? Flat Cap says, I heard Robin. I forgot to mute my microphone during the pre-roll videos. So what did you actually hear, Flat Cap? Something you're not supposed to hear? Chris says, hey everyone. Sounds good here in the UK. Nice day here today. That's nice to hear, Chris. Good to see you here. And maybe it's a good time to go and do some shuttle therapy. Astrom says, good afternoon from Iceland. Hey Astrom, how are you? Well, Iceland sounds really cold. Hey, I wonder what's the temperature there like. Jerry says, audio and video okay. Thank you so much. You have a full HD display. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Hey, I think full HD is fine. Jeff says, hey Robin, everyone. Hey Jeff, how are you? Very nice to see you again. Thanks for the update. Flat cap sounds and looks good. Thank you so much. Richard says, coffee, yes, important. I agree. I'm going to drink another sip to that, Richard. Thank you so much. Nice seeing you here, Derek. Jerry says, good afternoon from Finland. I have to watch this later. For me, 20 megapixels is enough. Maybe sensor shift technique is good enough to give larger images if needed. Okay, we'll talk a bit more about the topic a little bit later, no worries. Ifer says, good morning, you all. Hey, Ifer, how are you? Nice to see you here. Nema says, good evening, Robin. Love from Nepal. Hey, Nema, how are you? Thanks for dropping by. Richard says, EP5 works for me. Spring has arrived here. Wow. I think it's warmer now, right? And spring is when all the flowers are booming. I think it's a very nice time for photography. All right, I've caught up with the chat. Let's give you guys a bit of update on what's happening in my life. Last Monday, as usual, every Monday I release a new video. And this video, I was talking about the smallest Micro Four Thirds cameras. Let me get the cameras. It was the Olympus EPM2, which I have here in my hand, all right, versus the Panasonic GM1. Panasonic GM1 still has the throne of the smallest interchangeable lens camera of all time, of even smaller than Nikon 1 system, even smaller than Pentax Q. I have the Pentax Q. So people always question me, Robin, Pentax Q is smaller, but hey, I have both. I have compared side by side. The GM1 is smaller, right? And the EPM2 is not that much larger than the GM1. So I made a video to compare both of them because I love small things. I love small cameras. And I find it really cool and really exciting that I can use these tiny cameras and deliver really fantastic results. And that's what Micro Four Thirds is all about, right? Using really compact, really lightweight system, yet you can still produce professional looking images. So I compared these cameras side by side. There are a lot of similarities between them. They use Micro Four Thirds mount, Micro Four Thirds image sensor, almost similar autofocus profile performance, but these two cameras are also very different. They have different features, like the EPM2 has better handling, has built-in image stabilization. The GM1 has a metal build. It's actually smaller and has a mode dial, which I actually appreciate, which is missing from the EPM2. So both cameras has their pros and cons, but in practicality, the EPM2 is a superior camera because of the image stabilization and the handling, but I still prefer to use the GM1. GM1 is my favorite because it's just something that is that I love about such a tiny camera. And yes, but like I said, if I want a larger camera, if I want better handling, proper 5S image stabilization, if I want to use electronic viewfinder, I have my EM1 Mark II, my OM1 cameras, even my OM10. These cameras can do the better job than the EPM2. So when I'm picking up either the EPM2 or the GM1, right, either one of these, I'm not going to complain about handling. I'm not going to complain about image stabilization. I'm not going to complain about lack of viewfinder. I use them for what they are, and they are excellent cameras for street photography, which I do a lot. All right, so check out the video if you have not done so. Currently, I'm working on several projects, and they are almost complete. One is the Brighting Star 50 f0.95 lens. So I shot a portrait with it. I think the video will be out in 1 to 2 weeks' time, so look forward to that. I'm also working on my content for this OM system, OM3. Yes, the OM3 is still with me. The photograph that you saw on the thumbnail for this live stream what's the OM3 is this OM3 that I'm holding here with the 25 f1.8 Mark II. So I'm aiming to do at least 2 videos with this camera, maybe 3, I don't know. Those videos will not be reviews, it's just me using the camera to shoot in real life situations and share maybe some tips and tricks on how to get the best results out of the OM3. So those will be the content that I am currently making, but I do need to return this camera to YL Camera, which is the official distributor for OM system in Malaysia, next week. So I only have a few days left, so hopefully I can finish everything before I return the camera to them, or else I may have to ask for extension of deadline, but who knows, we'll see. I'll try my best. Also depending on the weather. If it rains every day, then I just can't make my videos, right, because I make my video outdoor. So that's my current project, which I'm very, very busy with for the past few days, going out to shoot some sample photographs, making my video, editing those photographs and videos. So yeah, people don't realize making content on YouTube, it does take a lot of time. The other project which I have completed, and I have to return this to Futuramic very soon. Futuramic is the distributor of Nikon, Tamron, Samyang, and SanDisk, as well as Ricoh Pentax in Malaysia. This is the new Tamron 90mm f2.8 macro lens. I think it's the Mark III version, the latest one, just launched not too long ago. So I've tested this macro lens on my Nikon Z5. I brought it out to do some inside macro photography. I've shared a set of photographs already, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, right? And I have more photographs to share this week. I've gone to more places to shoot, and I have more interesting photographs, and I can't wait to share them with you guys here in this live stream soon, right? But first, we want to talk about the topic. Okay, what else am I working on? Oh, some more updates. There will be no live stream next week. So I'll be taking a break from doing a live stream next week because next Thursday, which is the 27th of March, I'll be traveling to Perth, Australia. I'll be there for about 1 week. So Thursday is usually the day that I have my live stream, right? So I'm traveling on Thursday, so I can't do my live stream on Thursday. I initially thought of doing my live stream on Wednesday instead, but I noticed that Jimmy Chang from Red 35 has continued his live streams, his weekly live streams, right? So Jimmy has always had the Wednesday slot. So I don't want to touch his slot. I don't think it's very nice to interfere or to clash with Jimmy Chang's live stream. I'm a huge fan of Jimmy Chang. I think he's a fantastic photographer and content creator as well. He's still an OM ambassador. So yeah, out of respect for Jimmy, I will not do any live streams next week. I don't want to do on Monday or Tuesday. I'll be busy running around doing other things. So yeah, no live streams next week, but the live stream will resume the week after I come back from Perth, Australia, right? So no live stream next week, but it's just 1 week. I'm being away for 1 week, taking a break. I'm going to Perth, Australia. Gonna enjoy my time there. Gonna meet some people. Gonna go around the places. Not even sure if I'm gonna do much photography there. Looking at my timetable, I may not have any time slots for shuttle therapy sessions, and that's perfectly fine. I just want to chill. Just want to have a good time with my friends. Just want to really rewind and relax. Seriously, like I need a break, right? I've been working so hard since even before the beginning of the year. Yeah, my timetable has been really crazy since November last year. So I've been working non-stop from November, December, January, and then there was a small break for Chinese New Year, and I continued working on and on again. And yeah, I deserve this break. So I'll be going to Perth, Australia next week. No live stream next week, and the live stream will resume the week after, right? So take note. Okay, what else do I have to tell you guys? I think that's pretty much it. I do have 2 sets of photographs to share, so do stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Plenty of things to cover, but yeah, before we dive into the topic, let me drink more coffee. Yeah, before we jump into the topic today, which is a very short topic anyway, it's more like an open discussion. Let me remind everyone that I have enabled the membership, where with just the price of a cup of coffee, you can support me. You get some really cool perks. You get to see my video 24 hours before everyone else. It's an early access. We also have members only live stream. So for this month, the members only live stream is tomorrow. We have once a month members only live stream where you come into the private live stream and we have more intimate conversations. I will prioritize my responses to members first, whether it's the comments on my old or new videos, or even the chats here in live streams. I'll definitely go to the members first and I'll reply to you before non-members. I've also taken down some older videos that were not performing well. These videos, I don't want them to affect the algorithm of newer videos. I want YouTube to continue to push my newer videos to a wider audience. Some of these videos include tips and tricks on composition, black and white photography, how to get sharp images, doing macro photography using macro four thirds camera, also a lot of POV street photography where you actually get to see how I compose my shots, what's happening around and in front of me before I click my shutter button, how I approach strangers doing my street photography. A lot of these videos were taken down. If you want full access to these videos, you can join as a member. There are other ways to support me besides the membership on this YouTube channel. You can buy me a cup of coffee by using this link, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal, or you can buy from any of my affiliate links, Amazon, B&H. I'll earn about 2% commission. Any support from you guys will go a long way, will definitely help me to create more content, share more tips and tricks, and do more reviews on Micro Four Thirds or any other gear with you guys here on this channel. I work very hard. A lot of this content or the videos, they require some cost, and I use my own funds and resources to do all these videos. So your contribution will help me to generate more content for you guys, right? It's just a win-win situation. All right. Today's topic is actually very, very simple. I'm not going to talk too much. I'll share a bit of my opinion. It's an open-ended question, so you guys can come in, chime in, share your thoughts, share your opinion on this. In a recent interview between Petapixel and OM Digital Solutions, they actually made a shocking revelation that OM system will only stay at 20 megapixel resolution for a foreseeable future, for quite a long time. They don't intend to bump up the resolution. And their reasoning for this is because they think 20 megapixels is enough, and they will focus on other areas. They want to push other boundaries of what they can do with the camera, and specifically on computational photography. So in summary, OM system is not going to increase the resolution of the sensor. It's going to stay at 20 megapixel for quite some time, but they will continue to push what they can do. They'll continue to improve the computational photography aspect in their future cameras. So there's a chance that OM1 Mark III is going to be 20 megapixels. There's a chance that OM5 Mark II is going to be 20 megapixels. There's a chance that OM1 Mark IV, Mark V, Mark VI will be 20 megapixels. So I don't know how to feel about that. But I'm taking this comment with a grain of salt because this has happened before. If you look at the history, back in the day, this was in even before Micro Four Thirds time. This is during the Four Thirds era. Olympus back then, this is not OM system, so it's technically a different company. Olympus claimed that, hey, you know what? 12 megapixels is enough. We're not going to go higher than 12 megapixels. We're going to stay at 12 megapixels for a long time. Just, I think, 3 or 4 years later, they went 16 megapixels. And then about 3 years later, they went 20 megapixels. So they don't always stay true or consistent to what they say. They may say one thing today, and then 2 or 3 years down the road, things can change, right? So I guess what the representative was saying is that for now, the priority is computational photography, but I would like to believe that sometime in the future, the resolution will have to go up because staying at 20 megapixels is going to be a mistake. Just like if Olympus chose to stay at 12 megapixels with Micro Four Thirds, I think it will be a very, very big disadvantage for the Olympus mirrorless Micro Four Thirds system. They knew it. That's why they bumped it up to 16 and 20 megapixels. And 10 years ago, I think more than 10 years, all right? When was the EM1 Mark III launched? EM1 Mark III was launched in 2016. So about almost 10 years ago. 10 years ago, 20 megapixels was the sweet spot. It was not a lot because back then we already have 36 megapixels image sensor and 24 megapixels was a commonplace for Canon, Sony cameras, right? 24 was quite the norm already. So 20 for Micro Four Thirds, although it's not 24 or 36, 20 is still a lot and it was enough 10 years ago, right? But now, 10 years later, I'm starting to feel that the 20 megapixels is starting to show its limitations where everyone else has gone 40, 50, 60. And have you guys seen the latest camera launched by Fuji today? Fuji, the GFX, what was it? GF, what camera was that? Let me just, instead of just throwing numbers, let me just find the actual camera model. The fixed lens medium format camera, right? GFX 100RF. It has 102 megapixels. So the latest camera from Fuji has 102 megapixels. And now we are stuck at 20 megapixels for Micro Four Thirds. So I don't really know how to feel about that. So I want to come back to the comment from OM Systems saying that they want to push the boundaries of computational photography. I think prioritizing computational photography versus the progress of image sensor development can only work if no one else is doing computational photography. Let's say that OM System is the only one that has live composite. OM System is the only one that has pro capture mode, pre-burst, right? Let's say OM System is the only one that can do 120 frames per second. Or OM System is the only one that can do focus stacking or what you call that, high-res shot, the pixel shift composite method. If OM System is the only one that can do all these cool features, right? But that's not true. I think the only true unique feature to OM System now is Live ND in terms of computational photography. And Live ND was not even that impressive to begin with. Live ND has so many limitations. For example, you can't use it for video. You can't use it with flash. And with EM1 Mark III, it was stuck at ND32. With OM1, it's stuck at ND64. At OM1 Mark II, you have the limit is ND128. So from EM1 Mark III until OM1 Mark II, we are looking at the gap of 5 years. If I'm not mistaken, let me check. Again, let me get my facts right. EM1 Mark III launched. So EM1 Mark III was launched in 2020, right? So OM1 Mark II was launched last year. So in the gap of 4 years, they can only increase 2 stops Live ND. And you know what? Recently, when I went to shoot a waterfall, I needed ND 1000. And my OM1 only had ND64. It wasn't enough. ND64, ND1000, that's a huge gap there. Even if I have the OM Mark II, still not enough. I need ND1000 or more if I want to stack, right? So that's a lot of limitations. So what I'm trying to say is that condition number one, no one has any of this, live ND or live ND, of course no one has it now, but let's say pre-burst, pro-capture, high-res shot, pixel shift, composite method, focus stacking, all those things. If no one has any of these features, that's fine. Means that these features are unique to OM system, and of course in the future, these are the unique selling points that everyone will come to Micro Four Thirds or OM system for these features, right? Because they are really advanced and they really help and make a difference in real world situations. But no, almost everyone has these features. And condition number two, if the computational photography is actually good enough, every single one of them has so many limitations. For example, pixel shift. You need a tripod, right? Handheld is a different method. Yes, you get more megapixels, but it's not exactly as good as the tripod high-res shot. Do you guys realize that? There's always a compromise. And you can't deal with moving subjects. It doesn't work with moving subjects. There's just so many limitations, right? Yeah, you can get pixel shift. You can get like 50 megapixels. It's not 80 megapixels, although RAW is 80 megapixels, but the quality is just 50 megapixels, but it's not quite there. And then live ND, as just mentioned, is not enough. If I have ND1000, if I can use the live ND for video, if I can use it for flash, if I can use high shutter speeds with it, that's fine. The shutter speed is capped at what? Half a second or 1/8 of a second, depending on which ND setting that you use, right? So there's so many limitations for every single one of the computational photography to a point where it's quite limiting in real life situations. In this scenario, honestly, a lot of people would choose a higher megapixel, higher performing image sensor that can make a real difference in terms of dynamic range, high ISO performance in low light. It opens up a lot more opportunity for the photographer to work with and perform, right, in actual shooting scenarios compared to just computational tricks. I'm not saying that the computational tricks are not useful. I find that a lot of them are useful in some limited situations, but a lot of this importance or the effectiveness were overblown by a lot of people out there. But honestly, I don't use any of them at all, right? And yeah, I want to use them, but how? I can't use live ND to shoot my video. I still have to use a physical ND. I would love the live ND to be used for my video, that I don't have to carry a physical ND anymore, but I can't because you can't use it for a video, right? Of course, I would love to use it for high resolution shots, but then everything I shoot moves. I shoot street photography, I shoot macro photography, the insects move, right? People move on the street. You can't just say, hey, uncle, don't move, stand still. You can't do that. If the uncle wants to walk, he walks, right? Or the car moves, you can't just stand in the middle of the road and stop the car, don't move, right? It doesn't work that way. So yeah, so I feel that, well, everyone has progressed. So you see, right, if everyone is stuck at 20 to 30 megapixels, if Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, they're stuck at 20, 30 megapixels, that's fine because that's the industry standard, right? So 20 is plenty to work with. We don't have to have more pixels than everyone else. I'm not the guy who is always very greedy. I want more and more megapixels as long as it's sufficient, right? But you see, Canon has 45 megapixels, Sony has 61 megapixels, right? Fuji has 100 megapixels. Everyone has more and more and more, and then Micro Four Thirds is a little bit stuck behind. It's not only just the pixel that is stuck. When Canon come out with the 45 megapixel sensor for the R5, they actually made improvements in terms of dynamic range and high ISO performance. There's a significant improvement. When Sony came out with the 61 megapixels image sensor, they also made improvements in terms of dynamic range and high ISO. The progress is there. There is a visible, significant improvement when it comes to overall image quality. It is not just the pixel count, right? It's not just limited to, oh, I have more pixels and sacrifice everything else. No, right? So yeah, there you go. And also, there's one thing I need to mention that's very troubling. This is also true for Red 35. Jimmy Chang has mentioned that the reason why he bought the G9 Mark II and the GH6 in the first place was because a lot of the agencies that he's working for, a lot of his clients, require him to deliver 24 megapixels. So how? You know, in actual professional environment, the requirement, the minimum, bare minimum is 24 megapixels. So If OM system chooses to stay with 20, it means that they are putting themselves out. They're pulling themselves out of the professional category, which is very troubling. So are we saying that OM system is no longer a professional camera? So yeah, this is very troubling. Right? So those are my thoughts. I feel that yes, computational photography is important. It's not there yet, but I wish they get better. I wish they go to a point where I can use live ND for my video shooting. I wish that I can do handheld higher shot and not worry about moving subjects. I wish I can do pre-burst without worrying about the buffer. You click one time, you have to wait. I mean, there's so many limitations. So I wish the computational photography they improve. I think it's the right direction for OM system to continue to push what they can do with these computational tricks. They can be very useful and they can make a difference in a lot of scenarios. But at the same time, they should not ignore the progress of the image sensor development because everyone else has gone so far. I think Micro Four Thirds cam is left very, very, very far behind. And that's the part where I feel both the computational trick and the image sensor can go hand in hand and really, really push. I mean, come on. Let's say Sony has 61 megapixels. We don't need 61. Give us 30, 35. That would be great, right? Some progress is better than none, rather than being stuck at 20 megapixels for more than 10 years. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with me? I want more pixels, but I don't need 60 or 100 megapixels. Give me 30, give me 35. 40 will be a bit too much already. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna drink some coffee and get to the chat. I see a lot of people in the chat already, but I'll always prioritize my responses to members first. So if you're not a member, please wait for a little bit, yeah? Mike says, I've been doing aviation photography at the airport lately. 40 to 150 f2.8 plus the 1.4 teleconverter is really great for this. Australia Air Force visited DFW Monday. I got some video of their C-17 jet. That's awesome, Mike. I'm sure you got some really awesome shots. Hey, John, how are you? John is one of the most awesome wedding photographers in Malaysia. I learned a lot from John. He's quite an inspiring person. He also has a YouTube channel. So do check out John's YouTube channel. It gives him a subscribe as well. So John says, the new Fuji GFX 100 is 100 megapixels. Looking amazing. Are you gonna buy one, John? If you buy one, I want to borrow one, John. Coffee. You buy one first, then we have coffee and I borrow one, right? Deal? Mike says, 20 megapixels is just fine for what I'm doing. It's very difficult to aim at moving airplanes. A bigger camera will make it harder and show the errors more. But having more megapixels is one thing. The size of the camera is another thing. So there are Sony cameras, for example, A7R Mark V that has 60 megapixels. That is actually smaller in size compared to OMR Mark II and G9 Mark II or GH7. So the size of the camera doesn't determine the pixel count. It can be the camera having 60 megapixels and still be smaller than the Micro Four Thirds camera, and it has full frame sensor in it, right? For example, A7CR that has 60 megapixels, 61 megapixels, and it's smaller than, say, the OM1 or OM1 Mark II. All right. Okay. John says, yeah, man, get one. My goodness, go buy one. AJ says, hi Robin everyone. Hey AJ, how are you? Nice to see you here. John says, which version of Robin are we watching? Is this the actual Robin or the severed version? I think it's the later. John, are you following Severance? I guess you are, judging for the comments. Tomorrow is the finale. I can't wait. My goodness, I'm a huge fan of Severance, and the build-up for the finale, the season finale, is just crazy. And oh my goodness, the past few episodes have been so many. There are so many mind-blowing reviews. Man, I'm not going to talk about them just in case of spoilers or whatever. But yeah, if you are following Severance, do leave your comment in the chat, right? Watch says, I wonder if current lens could stand an actual increase of megapixels or they would need an increase on quality as well. Micro Four Thirds lenses in general, at least the premium grade and pro grade, can resolve up to 50 megapixels, 50. That's the reason why when you shoot handheld high-res shot or the tripod high-res shot, you get 80 megapixels raw because let's say you shoot tripod high-res shot, which is the better technique, right? It's more precise. The sensor will move 8 times, so it will overlap half a pixel pitch. That's why 20 times 8 is 160. Because it's half a pitch, you divide it by 2, you get 80 megapixels raw file. But The JPEG is not 80 megapixels. Do you know why? Because the quality that the lens can resolve, the optical limit is 50. I think it's more than 50. Maybe it's 60 or 64 or more than 60. But to be conservative, OM system, just like Olympus previously, they have always been conservative. They don't make bold claims. They say, okay, this is equivalent to 50 megapixels quality. This is not an 80 megapixels file. I know because when I work with Olympus, they were very, they emphasize on this a lot. They say, don't tell people this is an 80 megapixels files. This is equivalent to 50 megapixels quality. All right. So yeah, the lens, if the lens cannot resolve 50 megapixels, even if you put all the pixel shift composite method, you won't get a true 50 megapixels image. Let's say the lens is only able to resolve 36 megapixels. Even if you have 80 megapixels raw file, those pixels does not translate to actual fine details or actual data that is resolved from the lens, right? So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Watch. Okay, let's go to the non-members chat. I'm a bit behind. Ifer says, hey from Long Island, New York. Hey Ifer, how are you? Nice to see you here. Andrea says, good morning all from Italy. Hey Andrea, how are you? Andrew! Hi Andrew! Another amazing wedding photographer in Malaysia. Another one of the guys that really inspired me. Andrew said, good evening Robin, Indomie best for supper. Yes, I'm going to eat that after this. I'm getting hungry already. My goodness, I get hungry a lot these days. I don't know. Oops. Growing boy, I guess. Let me straighten the microphone a little bit. Hopefully it stays in place. All right. Ifer says, nice, you said my name correctly. So many people have gotten it correctly. Okay, interesting. Incorrectly. Yes, Microphotos gang. Vabagamuka, how are you? Vabagamuka says, good evening, Robin. Good evening to you too. Hey, Jen, how are you? Hi, Robin just arrived. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. The reality is that we will not know if it is the right decision until we see those new features. I don't think there's a lot they can do. I would rather they really update the current features because all the current features feel a little bit half-baked. Like handheld higher shot, there's still so many limitations. We can't really use them for moving subjects. They should fix that first using computational AI. Why not, right? Or live, what you call it, live ND, right? There's so many limitations. It's stuck at ND64 or 128, depending on which camera you use. You can't use it for video. That's like, what's with all these limitations? And I can't really use it in actual, like what I want to use it for, right? I still use physical ND filters because of that. Yeah, Vapagabuka says, love small cameras. My EPM1 and Lumix 14 is almost always in my handbag. We'll get a GM1 if it becomes available. Yeah, I mean, you can find a GM1 at a good price in the used market. Why not? Should get it. Derek says, I recently bought a second-hand EM10 Mark III to supplement my OM1 as I love its small size. I know, right? There's a place for smaller size cameras. I think we talk about why small cameras are important for the overall ecosystem or even entry-level cameras, not just the EM10 or EPL7, right? These cameras are actually very important, and I hope both Panasonic and OM System will come up with these cameras soon. Yumi says, hi Robin, hope you have had a good day. It's been a very, very busy day. I did some, I had a shoot in the morning, edited the photos in the afternoon, and then that's it. Yeah. Sismon says, hi, about OM1 Mark 1. Did OM fix the F issues you had? I can't find any information about it. Nope, they did not. Roberto says, hello. Hey, Roberto, how are you? Nice to see you here. Traditional Craft says, hi, I have a question. Okay, let me see your question. Let me find your question. And I cannot see your question. What is your question, Traditional Craft? Let me see if there is any members chat. Nope. Enzo says, always great tips for OM cameras. Brilliant. Greetings from Vietnam. Thank you so much, Enzo. I share what I can. I do what I can, and hopefully you guys find them useful, right? Derek says, I have never had any issues with my OM1. It's a very capable workhorse, and I take it out anywhere, anytime, in any weather. My only issue with it is that, one, it doesn't produce any better than in terms of image quality compared to my EM1 Mark II, which is a camera that is like 5-6 years ago, right? And second, then why do I want to change to the new camera? I can produce the exact same results with my older camera. And number two, the autofocus is worse than EM1 Mark II, especially in low contrast, low light situation. Even the OM3 has the issue. I will not talk about this too much because the last time I talked about this, I actually made 3 videos to talk about them. And yeah, I guess there are a lot of fanboys. They are not happy. There are people who just want to hear positive things about the camera that they use. And if you tell them there is a problem, a valid problem, and I actually have a lot of evidence. I made 3 videos, 3 different scenarios to prove that the problem is real. Right? Yeah, they just don't like hearing that, you know, their favorite camera has flaws, right? Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about it in this. This stream is not about OM1's autofocus issues. George says, greetings. Hey, George, how are you? I wish that you would pause the chat while ads play. How do I know when the ads are playing? Google will choose when the ads will play, and everyone has different ads everywhere in the world at different timing. I have no control of that, George. I feel like viewers are missing out. If you're talking while we are watching ads, our members spared the ads. No, members here will also see the ads. But if you during the private live stream, I disable the ads. Terry says, hi Robin from a sunny warm spring day in the UK. Hey Terry, how are you? Sounds like a good time to go out and do some photography. Vermi says, all I have to say on the topic is I wanted more megapixels. I wouldn't have stuck with micro four thirds. Deliberately chose 20 megapixels OM1 over 24 megapixels G9 Mark II. I understand. If your photography doesn't require a lot of pixels to begin with, that's fine. But it's also very strange that let's look at what OM system is doing. They are targeting wildlife photographers. They're targeting birders. They're targeting people who do a lot of nature, outdoor photography, right? Birds. And the feedback, well, I work in the industry. I work for Olympus Malaysia. And we were targeting bird photographers from day one. Because when we launched the 300 f4, we know that that lens is so compact. It's a 600 equivalent. And you can attach a teleconverter. And that was the sharpest lens ever that was made by Olympus. Olympus was very proud with that accomplishment. So we thought that lens would be the killer for the world of birding, right? But no. A lot of people gave the feedback saying that, yeah, I've tried the OM system, the image stabilization is fantastic, I can handhold the camera, but the 20 megapixels files is just not enough for 2 reasons. Number 1, no room to crop, we know that already. Number 2, a lot of the birds are hiding in shadowy areas. They don't just come out and sit under the sun, right? So once they hide in the shade, you need to increase your ISO numbers to 3200, 6400. It's not about the noise. People say, oh, there's an AI noise reduction software. It's not about the noise. It's about the loss of dynamic range, the loss of contrast, and overall rendering. It just looks flatter and less realistic and less pleasing compared to, say, if you shoot at low ISO numbers with your OM system, Olympus camera, or if you use a full frame camera with larger sensor at higher ISO, you still can get really fine details, you get better contrast, and you have more megapixels to work with in the first place. And they say that a lot of times they crop a lot, and even after cropping, they compared the images side by side with micro four thirds, they say it's still better. And this is specifically wildlife bird photographers talking. In terms of street photography, I can give you 10 reasons why micro four thirds is better. In terms of portrait photography or a lot of other event work, right? I've made a lot of YouTube videos talking about why I prefer to shoot events with micro four thirds, right? I can make solid, foolproof argument why micro four thirds is better. But when it comes to wildlife, megapixels is king, man. Like, if you talk to people who have used 60 megapixels before, it's a huge deal. It's like 20 megapixels is really limiting. Like, I don't know. And these are professional wildlife and bird photographers. They use Canon, Sony, rightfully so. If you look at the images, you know why. And it's also strange, like how OM system is going all in into wildlife. Where I've been to the Z6 Mark III launch. During the promo trailer, it's wildlife photography. Canon is doing wildlife as well. Sony is doing wildlife as well. So, OM system says that, oh, we have the amazing bird AI subject detection, right? Guess what? Sony, Canon, Nikon, Fuji, everyone has the bird detection autofocus, and some could work even better than OM systems. So, yeah, anyway. Xmila says, well, in fact, 20 megapixels is nice balance between image quality, storage, processing, and fits the portable system. I also have the 24 megapixels APS-C, and there is no observable difference. Of course, 20 to 24 I won't say there's much difference, but it allows you a bit of room to crop. I'll usually do a little bit of straightening, a little bit of crop to get rid of some things in the corner, and it comes down to maybe close to 20, right? But if I crop from 20, then it becomes like 16, 15 megapixels. So that's the only advantage I can think of. But if you have, let's say, 30 or 32 megapixels to work with, that is a significant boost in terms of resolution. You have 50% or more resolution to work with. That's my proposal in the first place. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the members chat. John says, your Ulti is equally as cool. He likes medium range format at 100 megapixels more than Micro Four Thirds. How do you know both sides, John? Do you work in Lumen? That's very scary, John. Your Ulti loves Sony. How do you know so much about my Ulti, John? Yeah. Gregory says, OM system does not develop the sensor that is very expensive and requires a deep wallet like Sony's. They do have re-engineered camera's electronics to handle larger pixel count. No issue, right? I think it can be easily done. Gregory says they may be waiting for the next big jump before syncing all the NRE into updating the camera electronics. So they can. Everyone is doing it. Why can't they, right? Watch says, if my math is correct, we take the Fuji APS-C 40 megapixel sensor and cut it to the size of Micro Four Thirds, the result will be at least 26 megapixels. So the technology is already there. Not really. The Fuji 40 megapixels is an X-trans sensor. So the Micro Four Thirds is still using the traditional RGB Bayer sensor. So you can't just crop it away and become a Micro Four Thirds sensor, right? It's just two different technology. Ink and Barrel says, really depends on the type of photographer, a post-processing person, or limited or no post-process person. Post-process is now a cell phone shooter. Yeah. But I guess post-processing is a part of digital workflow. You cannot take it away. It's an integral part. It depends on how much post-processing you want to apply. I don't apply extensive post-processing. When I talk about post-processing, I talk about straightening, cropping a little bit, right? Hey, when I shoot, let's say my street photographs, just very simple. I can't just, let me wait, let me just make everything is level, make sure everything is perfectly in frame, everything is balanced, and click the shutter button. The moment will be gone. Whoever that's walking or whatever that's happening, let's say there's a cat jumping, you see you have to click, right? So in that moment, you click so quickly, your shots will be a little bit off level, your shots will be, you include some things that you don't want to. That's where you have to crop a little bit, you have to straighten a little bit, maybe boost a little bit of contrast, because you shoot so quickly, maybe let's say in the previous shot, you underexposed for whatever reason, and you see something, you click, then it became underexposed unintentionally, so you bring out exposure a little bit, make sure the contrast is there, make sure the color is fine, and that's it. Those are my post-processing. And I think that's important because rather than you don't post-process at all, your photos is like slanted, and you include a garbage can in the background. Your photo is underexposed a little bit. It just doesn't look good, right? So for me, I feel that post-processing is an integral part of digital photography. It should not be taken away. Your photograph is not complete without your attention in post-processing. Yeah. Gary says, oil systems processing chain may be at its limit. Nah. I'm sure if everyone can do it, they can, right? Like Panasonic can do it, so why not, right? Like Sony can do it. And yeah, it's just electronics, right? Kevin says, good afternoon, Robin. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Most of my wildlife is macro, 10 megapixels is more than good enough. Yeah, if it's just for personal photography, that's fine. But I think macro is a little bit better because you can get close, right? But when it comes to, let's say, bird photography, you can't always get close. That's where the cropping will be necessary. Global shutter, Mike Cruz says, could be easier to do on a smaller sensor would be nice. Yeah, we'll just have to see what Micro Four Thirds can do. If they can do global shutter with 20 megapixels, that will be interesting. That will be a different story altogether, right? We just have to wait and see what happens. Sarafin says, if that can make a high resolution mode more useful for moving subjects, I'm good with 20 megapixels. Right? When did high resolution mode came out? It was in the EM5 Mark II, which was in the year 2014. It is 2025 now. It has been 11 years, and yet they could not solve this problem. With all the advancement, with processing power, with AI technology, 11 years is a long time. And yet until today, they still cannot give us a solution on moving subjects while we use high resolution mode. So, it's like, I'm going to stop waiting, man. Am I going to wait another 10 years for this to happen? Like, man, Richard says, I believe 20 megapixels is currently where the OM system sensor sits. My EM10 Mark IV is at 20.4.3. Like, come on, man. Can you really see the 0.1 difference with your eyes? Seriously? EP5 is 16.1. Which is just fine. Of course, if it's good enough for you, that's great. I'm not saying that everyone needs 100 megapixels or 60 megapixels, right? But I do want to see progress in sensors. So the problem here is not just whether 20 megapixels is enough or not. The question here is it okay for OM system to not care about the progress or development of image sensor? Is it okay for them to ignore the improvement of image quality? And they just push computational photography? That's the question. Because it's been almost 10 years with no improvement of image quality, no improvement of dynamic range, high ISO, or resolution, right? Alpha says, I was going to say the original Olympus did the exact same thing. The OM system saying something similar doesn't surprise me. I doubt they'll stick to it, thankfully. Hopefully they won't stick to it because it'll be suicidal, right? Somehow, I think. High megapixels is good for cropping. Roberto says that's true. Josh says, if the sensor size remains constant, what are the effects on image quality as the number of megapixels increase? No effect. So if you compare, let's say Canon R6 and R5, the R5 has 45 megapixels, R6 has 20 megapixels, so it's more than double the resolution, right? The R5 has better dynamic range and better high ISO performance. That's from a Canon cam. If you compare the Nikon's cam, for example, Nikon Z6 has 24 megapixels, but the Z7 has 40 something megapixels, I don't know, also double the resolution. The Z7 has better dynamic range and high ISO compared to the Z6. Z7 better than Z6, high resolution better than low resolution in terms of image quality. Sony is also the same thing, the A7R Mark V having 61 megapixels compared to, say, A7 Mark IV, 33 megapixels, right? So it's almost double the resolution, 61 versus 30 something. And yet A7R5, if you really look at the chart that's plotted by sites like Photons to Photons, or what was the other site that I always refer to? Dang, it doesn't come to mind. Anyway, the site measure the dynamic range, signal to noise ratio, high ISO performance, everything is better, almost one stop better than compared to the lower resolution. So the high resolution is better than low resolution in terms of image quality. This is true for Sony, Nikon, and Canon. I'm sure if this happens to Micro Four Thirds, it's also the same. If you look at the history, it's also the same. When Olympus made the jump from 12 to 16, the 16 megapixels has about one stop better high ISO and dynamic range compared to the 12 megapixels. It was so significant that it actually pushes them close, very, very close to the best FPSC sensor at that time. Let's say D7 7200 at that time, right? Micro Four Thirds versus FPSC is like you can't really see much difference. And then when Olympus increased the resolution to 20 megapixels from 16 to 20, then there's almost another one stop of jump, dynamic range and high ISO. So every time Olympus increased the resolution, there's improvement in terms of image quality. That's why I want the progress, right? I don't want to be stuck for 10 years. For a few years, it's okay, but it's like coming to 10 years. And I don't think it's very wise for them to stay stuck at the same resolution, same image quality forever, right? Yeah. No, Micro Four Thirds is actually full frame. Think about that. Full frame. Terrace says, OM systems have yet to show any innovation since the acquisition only rehashed Olympus tags, so believe they will diminish the market if they do not offer more resolution. I agree with this. I think it's time for them to look seriously at the hardware rather than just giving us a lot of computational tricks. The computational photography features are great. I'm not saying they are not, but they need to be on top of that, right? Like I said, if no one else has live composite or pre-capture burst or high-res shot, that's fine, but everyone has those things. Even AI subject detection, everyone is doing better than OM system. So it's not enough, right? They need more. Yeah. Ing and Barrel says, the little bit of post-process is a part now, but not having it is really what OM is fighting against. It's a bad idea. The 12 megapixels and 16 megapixel help Micro Four Thirds back for years doing it again. All right. Gregory says, I personally am satisfied with 20 megapixels, but I could use extra for the 6 megapixels for straightening alone. I know, right? Like, okay, if I have the time to slowly make sure the level is perfect and then click the shutter button, sure, all my shots will be perfect, right? But that's not the case. Things that I shoot are moving and I have limited time. When I see something, I have to quickly click the shutter button, and most of the time I will just try my best to get it as straight as possible, but it's always a little bit slanted, right? I mean, we are just human, and that's why we need a little bit of crop straightening to get the shot that we want, right? For perspective correction. Yeah. Vermi says 80 megapixels is bigger than 50. I realized that. Okay. Edzat says other manufacturers stick with 24 for full frame. What is cabin? Okay, Nikon ZF. I think 20 megapixels is fine. Make 14-bit RAW, but Nikon ZF and Z6 Mark II are not flagship cameras. So the Z8, Z9 has 45 megapixels, if I'm not wrong. And then Canon R1 and R3, yes, they have 24 megapixels. But Canon, is it R1 and R3? Let me just check. I could be wrong. It could be just 24. Yep, R1 is 24, R3 is 24, so great. But Canon also offers high resolution options. They have R5, which is effectively 45, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 45 megapixels. So there you go, right? David says 20 megapixels is fine for me, but many consumers want to see higher numbers that match competitors, and professionals need more than 20 megapixels due to client requirements. I think the question here, I understand 20 megapixels is fine for a lot of people, and honestly, for my personal work, 16 is enough, right? For my street photography, why do I need so many pixels? Even 10 megapixels is fine for my street photography. I don't need so much pixels, right? So many pixels. But here's the thing. The real question here is it okay for OEM digital solutions to stay stagnant and stuck at 20 megapixels for 10 years and continue on staying stuck at 20 megapixels for the years to come, for OEM Mark 3, OEM Mark 4, OEM Mark 5? You get what I mean? Is it okay for them to not show any progress at all or show any interest in developing a better image sensor? Or, you know, like, and it's not like there's no such sensors, right? Sony makes the sensors, I know. They can just use those sensors, but they don't want to. Is it a good decision to just stay stuck? Is 20 megapixels enough? That's subjective. Some people say yes, some people say no. Like, I'll say yes. Even for my work now, for my photography work, most of my clients, they don't need that many pixels, right? 20 is plenty. But is it going to be enough forever? And is it a good thing for them to stay stuck? I don't think so, right? So yeah, that's the real question here. Yeah, let's move on to the next. Roberto says, I'm trying Sony and 33 megapixels seems like a good sweet spot. I know, right? 30, 33, that's just nice, right? Yeah, it's a big enough improvement from 20. It doesn't slow you down like you need to suddenly have more hard drive or upgrade your SD cards or everything, right? Malvo says, will you be reviewing the GFX 100 RF? I don't know, like, I think in Malaysia, in Fuji's ecosystem, I'm the one that is being left out. I don't know, I'm never invited to anything. I never seen as someone important, I guess, not just by Fuji, by everyone else as well. I'm just a small peanut. Nobody cares about me. Nobody will send me anything for review, right? So yeah, I don't think that will ever happen. Richard says, perhaps OEM Systems wants to work on giving us more updated lenses. That's not what they said. They didn't say that. I have come across some version Mark II lenses I did not know existed, though I own one, which is a disappointment. Which lens is a disappointment to you, Richard? I would like to hear about that. Roberto says, for wildlife, 2x crop combined with digital crop of high megapixel sensor would be good for Olympus style. Yeah. I wouldn't combine with digital crop. If I want to crop, I'll just crop it later. Digital crop is just same with cropping, right? And I'd rather have the original file and crop as I like later. You don't lose anything. Captain Webb says, how many megapixels would be the highest available full-frame sensor? Cut down to micro four thirds. If that will be enough, the sensor is there. Or even Panasonic just has to order it in volume. Yeah, it's not so much of full-frame megapixels, then you cut it to micro four thirds. You have to develop the sensor separately. It's not just, okay, this is the full-frame sensor, you cut in the middle and it becomes a micro four thirds sensor. It doesn't work that way. Technically, micro four thirds system is not a crop system, although they say 2x crop, and then they say APS-C is 1.5x crop. The crop is misleading. Micro four thirds is full frame because you utilize the entire frame. The lenses cover the entire image circle of the sensor, right? Or the sensor covers the whole image circle of the lens. So basically, it's a mini full frame system. You don't just cut it out from a full frame sensor. You develop it separately, right? Yeah. Kevin says, 20 is plenty sounds like a good slogan for one of your caps. Yeah, for personal work, right? But I don't want them to be stuck because I care. Okay, here's the thing. I care about Micro Four Thirds system and I want them to thrive, not just survive. In order for them to be successful in the marketplace, they have to show some progress, right? And it seems like they're stuck. And that's not a good thing, right? So that's just why I'm ranting here. Yeah. Sismon says, I think sometimes need more megapixels in school photography because I crop a lot. Tools like Photo AI by Topaz are helpful if I crop a lot, but you need more time to process. And there's only so much AI can do. AI can give you that perceived pixel or the interpolate, right? They interpret and add the pixels. But nothing beats a true pixel that's captured by the camera. You get what I mean? Yeah. Herbert says, I told you several years ago, give me 35 megapixels. Several years ago? I don't remember that. When was that? I don't have a live stream several years ago. This live stream is only started like 1 year plus ago. Daniel 3D Trip says, for wildlife, higher megapixels is desired. OM is focused on wildlife. They need to fully fill the needs of wildlife photographers. I know, right? Like, they contradict themselves. They say that, okay, our system is built for wildlife photography. We target birders, people who shoot outdoor nature, wildlife, right? And yet, wildlife photographers, they give us a feedback when I was working at Olympus. They say we want more megapixels. We want high image quality. We want better dynamic range and high ISO performance, right? We shoot in low light. We just want more megapixels so that we can crop. This feedback has been given to them 10 years ago. And yet, they say, we are going to stay at 20 megapixels. I don't see how that is a good decision. IFA says, honestly, I think OM system pulling back and moving more towards the more casual market is a smart move. Are they? I don't think they are, right? Looking at the website, they're still saying, we are the outdoor, nature, wildlife, bird, right? They'll probably make sensors with more megapixels for the professional line. Yeah, if they don't improve or increase the pixel count now, I think OM system is just going to drop off the professional line altogether, right? You can't even qualify to be used in a professional environment soon, right? Jared says, you're right, more megapixels are obviously needed for professional photographers. Alpha says, but catering to the casual market is a good business decision, but they are not, right? What do you call it? They're targeting the wildlife outdoor, which is not really casual, like I hang out with my friends casually on a Sunday in a cafe. We're going to use a 150 to 400 millimeters lens to shoot our overpriced cup of coffee, right? Roblox says they really need to make a new pen camera if they want to go all out on the casual market. Nah. They already say what? They have no plans for the pen camera now. During one of the recent interviews, not just the Petapixel one. They don't want to make a compact camera with a fixed lens, which is the wrong decision. The rumor is saying Canon is going to come up with something really soon, next week. Sony is going to come up with something as well, but not the fixed lens, right? Fuji's camera with a fixed lens, medium format camera. So the fixed lens compact is so high in demand, it's trending, it's selling out everywhere. All the other manufacturers are generating so much profit, and OM system is missing out. It's not like they can't make it, right? So yeah, anyway. Santi says, hello Robin, hey Santix, how are you? Nice to see you here. I'm always happy. Nah, nothing happening. But I'm going to Perth next week, Santix, and it'll be a 1 week holiday. So again, for those of you who have just joined, there will be no live stream next week. Yeah, I'm going to Perth from 27 March. I'll be there for about 1 week. And the live stream will resume the week after. So no live stream next week. And I wanted to do on Wednesday. I mentioned this earlier. And I decided not to because I noticed that Jimmy Chang from Red 35 has resumed his weekly live streams. Started I think yesterday, right? Last night, he had a live stream. So I don't want to interfere or clash with Jimmy Chang. So I respect his slot. So I don't want to do on Monday or Tuesday. I'll be running around doing other things. I have shoots or dinner meetings and everything. So it's either Wednesday or Thursday. At Thursday, I'm away. So no live stream on next week. Yeah. Anastas says, hey Robin, nice to see you again. Hey Anastas, nice to be seen. Glad of you Glad to see you dropping by. Sandy says, sad to hear they plan to stick to 20 megapixels, though it's rather sufficient. But in 2025, should be 24 to 30. Yeah, I know, right? We just want progress. A little bit of progress is better than no progress at all, right? If it says, it's really smart to separate out the member and non-member chats, I'll make a note of that. No worries. Kevin says, got to agree, OM systems have not developed anything new or groundbreaking. It's not just sensors. Yeah, I know, right? And for them to just add 2 stops of live ND improvement from ND32 to 64 in OM1 and then OM128, that's disappointing, right? I expect in 4 or 5 years since the introduction of live ND, was it in EM1X? EM1X, right? It's live ND. When was EM1X launch? EM1X was launched in 2019. So in 5 years, right? I expect we already have like ND 1000, 10 stops ND, right? But no, unfortunately, we don't get that, right? That jump of improvement when it comes to computational photography. In 5 years, we only get extra 2 stops, which is barely enough for what I'm doing. Peter says, yeah, I think they should do a 26 megapixel sensor. Yeah, 26 or maybe 30, that would be great. Daniel says, is the higher shot really a full 50 or 80 megapixel as it relates to the lens's resolving power? Yes, it's more on the lens resolving power. Since the sensor is moving, it is a high-res file, but the lens is being used at 20 megapixels multiple times. It gives you an equivalent of about 50 megapixels sharpness or pixel quality, not 80. Sunday says, oh, I have seen the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, not bad, but overall phone software seems to be more polished. Are you gonna get one, Santix? Yeah. Yes, Indomie, gonna eat it later after this stream. Yeah, I don't know. They say that they have no plans, right, on making the pen. They say they're not giving it up also, but then they don't know what they're going to do with the pen line. Basically, that's what they say in the recent interview at the CP Plus, right? Which is quite sad. Season says, I would buy some OM1R with 40 megapixel for studio work. I know, right? And people doing commercial photography, doing studio, 40 megapixels is not like that much, you know. You get what I mean? It's like just nice for now, right? Yeah. Fajar says, Fuji made compact medium format cameras, so OM system may consider to make a new Micro Four Thirds compact. No, they said in the recent interview, same interview with the Petapixel, the one they mentioned that they are not going to increase the megapixel and focus on computational photography. In the same interview, they said, no compact camera, no fixed lens camera. They said it very, very, very clearly. No fixed lens camera. Click Flash says, hi Robin, if you needed higher megapixel count images, what system will you be looking into? I also wrote the EM1 Mark II and looking into OM1 Mark II for bird photography. Thank you for your input. At the moment, I don't need a high resolution. Honestly, Micro Four Thirds is still sufficient. The reason why I comment about why I am not really happy seeing OM digital solutions being stuck at 20 megapixels is just that I want them to show progress. It's been almost 10 years and they're still stuck with the same resolution, same high ISO performance, and same dynamic range. And as a healthy imaging company, a company that makes cameras, I want them to actually show improvement from generation to generation. It's already 10 years. How about another 10 years? Are you going to be stuck at 20 again, like OM1 Mark 3, Mark 4, Mark 5? So I want them to show some improvement. But basically for what I'm doing, 20 megapixels is more than enough. I never said it's not enough, right? Yeah, my clients have not asked me for higher resolution yet. If that happens, anything goes, right? Whatever that works. But it can be Nikon, it can be Sony, it can be Canon. The tool is just a tool. I just get a camera, get a shots. That's fine, right? Yeah. Okay, time check. It is 2 minutes past 11. I'll just reply this comment from John and then I'll start sharing my photographs. John says, I think fixed lens high-res camera is great for content creators. It's about timing. Why Ricoh GR and Fuji X100 Mark VI doing so well because of timing? It's not just timing, right? Fuji X100 series has always been doing so well. Ricoh GR series also has been doing so well over the years. It's just that in the recent years, the popularity suddenly spiked, right? Maybe because of TikTok, maybe because of the younger generation, I don't know. But X100 has been doing really well. If not, there will not be a Mark 6, right? Ricoh is not like releasing a new camera every 1 or 2 years. They release a camera every 3 or 4 years. So even Ricoh GR3, we already have the original GR, GR1, GR2. They were highly successful, and then GR3. So these cameras have been doing so well and so popular for a long time. And they're not really for content creators. These cameras were not targeted to content creators. They're targeted to casual shooters, to street photographers. People who just want a camera that's simple, turn it on, it's just shoot, right? They can carry them everywhere. And yes, I agree, there's a high demand for compact cameras. I think it's a poor decision, again, from OIM Digital Solutions to not consider making a compact fixed lens camera with the Micro Four Threads system. All right, thanks for the comment, John. I will drink some water to stay hydrated, and then some coffee, and then we'll share the first set of images. All right. First set of images were taken with, again, the OG OMD EM1, which was launched in the year 2013, and the old 25 f1.8. This is my own 25 f1.8 lens. I have the new one. The one on the OM3, this is the new 25 1.8, which has metal built and weather sealed, and this is the old 25 1.8. But yeah, the images that I'm sharing, they are shot with this old EM1 with the 25 1.8, right? And they're all in black and white. I'm exploring more and more black and white photography. In my recent blog article, I mentioned why it is important to do black and white photography with intention. Because a lot of people do black and white photography as an afterthought. They shoot in color first, and then if the color photos don't look nice, okay, maybe black and white photography to the rescue. You know, it's like a salvation when the color photography doesn't look good, or the lighting is not good enough, or it's in high ISO shot, a lot of noise, so you can save it with black and white, just convert it to black and white. I think those are very poor excuses. It's as if black and white photography is an afterthought, right? It's not important. So if you really want an impactful, powerful black and white photography, you should do black and white photography from the start. Set everything to black and white. Don't even second guess about color. Just do black and white. And yeah, these are the images that I have. All right. Wait, why is this? Okay. This is at Pudu again. I love shooting in Pudu in black and white. The place is very gritty, a lot of texture, a lot of lines, a lot of things to play with, a lot of people as well, very friendly people. Just a man walking by. Right, the bright shirt immediately pops out from the background. Just a very standard street photography shot, but pay attention to how I also have dark framing, meaning that the frame, whatever that is at the sides, at the bottom, at the top, they are all black. I mean, darker. So it gives like a natural framing to the shot, leads the eye straight into the middle of the shot, right? Composition, framing. And here, instead of the dark frame, so if you see the previous shot, it's the dark frame, right? All around the frame. Here is the bright frame. The bright frame. I'm shooting through a gap of something. I can't remember what it is, but shooting through a gap. It's a white plastic something, and it acts as a framing for this man there from a distance. Yeah. So framing, how do you separate your subject? How do you draw the attention to the subject? These are very, very important. It works for black and white photography. It works for color photography. It doesn't really matter if it's black and white or not. All right. So this shot, I first saw the two gloves, right? Which was, I thought the gloves alone were interesting, but I was looking for another subject to add into the composition. So coincidentally, there was a man there, so I somehow moved myself around and placed the man in the middle, between the two gloves. And the focus was on the man, of course, and the gloves were blurry as a foreground. And like the gloves were under the hot sun, and the man was in the shadow, so there's like a contrast between bright and dark areas. And contrast is very important for black and white photography. And here we also have layers. We have the foreground and the background, so which is interesting. Yeah. And this was unexpected. I've been to Pudu so many times. I was talking to Mati Solanto and Peter Forsgaard recently in our private conversations that sometimes we go to the same place. I never get bored. A lot of my friends say, Robin, don't you get bored going to the same places to shoot the same photos? I said, no. I go to the same places, but I don't shoot the same photos. And there are times you'll still encounter different things or new things or things you haven't seen before or some moments or something dramatic, something unusual, right? There will always be something unique that you haven't encountered before. In this case, there's a goose there and the man just placed his hand in front trying to pet the goose. So that was quite interesting. Yeah. Wait, let me just check something very quickly, yeah? Be right back. Let me check something very quickly. Okay, I'm back. No worries. Just making sure everything is fine. Where were we? We were with the goose, right? So I saw the goose. I wanted to capture the photo of the goose, and then the man just walked by, reached his hand over, and tried to pet the goose, which was interesting. And this shows how amazing this EM1 was, right? This original EM1 and 25. I saw something happen. I only have that split second to react. I point the camera at it, quickly frame my shot, and click. Of course, the shot was slanted. I have to like straighten it, right? But it nailed the shot. It shows how responsive and how amazing the autofocus was, right? So yeah. Okay, moving on. Next shot. Portraits. I love doing portraits. The 25 f1.8 just does amazing portrait shots. Yeah, people there are so friendly in the market, and they are authentically who they are. They don't wear makeup. They don't dress up. They don't, they're not even meeting their friends or whatever. They just go to the market, do whatever they want to do there. So whatever smile that you see, the facial expression is genuine. That's why I love going to wet markets. Framing, again, very, very important. So these are tarps or canopies to shield the vendors in the market from the sun. This is a wet market, morning market. And of course, between the tarps and the canopies, the umbrellas, the big umbrellas, there are openings and gaps. And sometimes I like to shoot through the gap, using it as a natural framing. So here it forms a triangle, and street photographers love triangles for whatever reason. And this triangle sort of like became the opening to look into one of the prominent buildings in Kuala Lumpur, which is the TRX, Tun Razak Exchange building. Yeah. Here, I'm playing with a little bit of layers. So in front, there's a man sitting there chilling. And in the backdrop, you can see the market where people are moving about. It's very congested. You can see the tarps and the canopies as well. People are selling vegetables, chicken, meat, everything here, even fish and seafood. And in the background, you see some tall buildings. And that building in the middle, that's the iconic Merdeka 118 building, which Marvel movie was being filmed there. What was that already? Thunderbolts, which will be coming out in May, April or May, I think May. Yeah, Thunderbolts, a Marvel movie. Was there was that Black Widow jumping off the top of that building. So yeah, looking forward to that movie. Anyway, look, coming back to this shot, layers is very important. So the one layer in front, the man, and the second layer is the market where people are running around, and then the last layer is the buildings. So layers, layers, layers. And just a portrait of a man doing this environmental portrait. So to see the person in the location, not just a close-up, tight hand and shoulder shots, right? So yeah. And portrait of three men. I just love the lighting here. It looks so beautiful. Everything is so three-dimensional. There's like a pop, very, very natural realism look to it. It's just beautiful. This is actually under a highway, a bridge, sort of. It just forms the lighting around the person. It's just so, so beautiful. So yeah, people there are really friendly, the vendors. They are not shy if you want to take the photos of them. Cat, of course, I love the cat, but this is not a perfect shot. I prefer the reflection to be a little bit better, but the reflection is a little bit distorted. I can't control it. The cat was lying down on top of a car with a reflective surface, but I did play with the cat for a little bit, and I get the cat to jump. So here's the jump shot. Again, it shows how responsive the EM1 was. An old camera. This was from 2013, 12 years ago. So you see how when I see the cat jump, just click, and I get a shot, right? So that's how responsive and how fast, not just the autofocus, but how the camera can respond. Like, I would imagine if I use cameras like, for example, Fuji SF10, I may not be able to get this. What other cameras I may have problems with? Generally, the Olympus cameras are very, very fast. Oh, the Ricoh GR3. I will not be able to get this. I will definitely miss this shot if I was using the GR3 or GR3X. Yeah, I can almost guarantee 90% I'll miss this shot using the GR3. Yeah. And then, portrait of another man dressed in white, which is very nice, right? This is in Pudu. I love doing portraits. So when I'm doing black and white photography, sometimes I shoot people in the shadow to create that dramatic look. So this man was in the shadow. You can see that it's a little bit backlit. The light comes from behind. But you can see the face is still very clear. You can see all the features, all the details, texture and everything. I just like that the face is in the shadow. It gives you that very, I don't know. It just looks, the face just immediately jumps out from the scene, right? From the bright background. Yeah. And just to show the location, what's there, there's a calculator on the table, there's some clothes hanging in the background, there's metal grilling where they hang drinks, Malaysian flag, a calendar, and all sorts of things, containers and things on the table itself, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. And this is the last shot of the day. A man holding the chicken, which is interesting. Of course, the chicken is about to get slaughtered. Someone's buying the chicken. This is from the market. Yeah. So that's it. These are the shots that I have all in black and white, taken with the original EM1 from 2013 and the original 25 f1.8 lens. Both amazing products from Olympus that I still use today. I thought, I hope you guys enjoyed looking at these photographs. I'm going to drink more water, drink some coffee, and then we'll get back to the chat. Yeah. I have another set of photographs. Yeah, this is not the only one. I have another set of photographs, the macro shots I've taken with the Tamron 90 f2.8, which I'll share in a little bit, right? I'll get to the comments first. I have to stay hydrated. Okay. Coffee. Okay. Let's get to the chat. John says, yeah, it spikes now because of content creation is all-time high. Point and shoot makes sense again. Okay. But then if I were to make content, let's say I want to vlog, right? I would probably not be using, let's say if I'm in Fuji's ecosystem, I'll probably be getting the SM5 instead of the X100 series. Rather change lens, get wider, a little bit of telephoto, and the SM5 seems like a good entry point for content creation, right? Rather than a camera with a fixed lens, for example. You can't do much with the 35mm. Mike says, I would like to see OM system improve the digital black and white color filters. They seem too weak to me. The effect is barely noticeable. That's interesting. I thought the black and white filters were quite good, right? They were quite good. Let's see if I can open up OM Workspace. Give me a moment, guys. Okay, let's see. So you say it's barely noticeable, right? Let's find a photograph that's actually fine. Nope, this is not great. Okay, I think this is great, natural. All right, I'm gonna go to Windows screen. Hopefully you guys can see this. Okay, so this is obviously a color shot. Let's say I apply, this is a shot on OM3 by the way, and it will be shown in one of my coming future videos. So let's say now I'll apply monochrome profile, right? So you're saying that the filters are weak. Okay, let's say I apply a red filter and no filter and red filter and no filter, red filter. That's quite good, right? And you have 8 filters. You have here, you have yellow, orange, red, magenta, blue, cyan, green, right? Let's say I go to green, for example. You see green filter and magenta filter. Green filter, magenta filter. Let's try blue. Blue filter, yellow filter. Blue filter, yellow filter. I thought the effect is quite pronounced, right? Let's see if I can find another example. Let's see. Okay, I'm not even sure if this is in focus, but never mind. So this has all kinds of colors, so it's easier to play it. Okay, let's say the color profile. Where do we want to start? Let's start with blue. This is blue. This is neutral. This is blue. Right. Okay, let's go to red. This is red. This is neutral. This is red. This is neutral. How about green? This is green. This is red. Can you see the difference? I thought the difference is quite pronounced, right? Let's go to orange. This is orange. This is purple. This is orange. This is purple. You guys can see the difference? Anyways, enough of that. Let's get back to the chat. Yeah, to say that it's barely noticeable, that's not true. I thought it was quite. Of course, those were extremes, right? You can tone it down. You don't have to be like full on blast +3. You can +1, +2, +3, right? Anyway, I disagree with you. I thought the black and white color filters is the most extensive that has been in any cameras. Compared to any other cameras out there, OM system gives you the most choices of color filters. There's 8 different color filters to choose from with different intensity. Like, how many more filters do you want? Like, seriously. Kevin says, great black and white shots. Thank you so much. I saved my luck out for going out and just shoot black and white. Looking forward to KL in June. Yeah, I'll see you in June. Kevin, looking forward to that. Yeah. Richard, yes, talking to each other, no worries. Hey Rod, how are you? Nice to see you here, Rod. It must be very late for you, Rod. Peter says, has anyone tried Fuji ST5 but then come back to OM system as they prefer? Not me. I'm staying with Micro Four Thirds, never jump. Mark says, the Panasonic G9 Mark II has 25 megapixels and that's Micro Four Thirds. But 25 is not enough, right? But today we're not talking about Panasonic, we're talking about OM system. And 25 is nothing to shout about, really. If you want more, maybe 30, 33. 25 versus 20, that's like not much improvement, right? Sabo says, I come from Sony 33 megapixels to Micro Four Thirds, just got my OM1 and Pan-F, but only have a Sigma 60, can't wait for the other lens. I just bought 4 lenses for 7200's price, including 2 Pro lenses. Alright, welcome to Micro Four Thirds, Sabo. We have a super chat. Let's look at this super chat. Luis says, I'm new to OM ecosystem and really enjoying the results I'm getting in street photography. I'm in love with 17 f1.8. Thanks for the great videos, great info, and overall content. Thank you so much for the support, Luis. Thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Here's the thing. Like, I agree with you. OM system is perfect for street photography. I've mentioned this so many times. Like the cameras, EM10, EPL7, even the bigger cameras like OM1, OM Mark II. I think these cameras are excellent for street photography. It's just that it's strange that they're not pushing it. Only recently they released the OM3, which was not. They're not really going all in. I think if they really target street photography crowd, it'll be a huge chunk. They will make a profit compared to the more niche wildlife photography, right? Just saying. But anyways, yeah, I'm glad that you're enjoying your OM system products for street photography. Thanks again for the super chat. Right. Okay. Let's see. Where were we? GSM3 Habitat says, did we talk about the GFX 100 RF? We talked briefly. Everyone is moving to more megapixels. We need more in Micro Four Thirds. The cropping is super useful. I agree. A bit more flexibility will be amazing, right? Like a bit. I'm not even asking for like 40, 50 megapixels. Maybe 30, 33 will be great. Like 50% increase will be amazing. That will make a huge difference, right? Compared to what we have previously stuck at 20 megapixels. Mike says, in-camera filters seemed weak to me, except red, but what you showed in the OM workspace is what I expected. Lightroom filters also work well. And, well, if you really want to do everything in-camera, may I suggest that you look at OM3. You can do that in-camera. Yeah, so where was it? So I'm here. I'm not sure if I can show you. Where was that? There. Yeah, you can do that with OM3. Get in focus. There you go. All right. Or EP7 or Pan-F. No worries. Richard Rod says, Foveon 20 megapixels, I'll take it. But then again, with no compromise when it comes to speed, Foveon had this problem. Yes, Foveon sensors are super sharp, amazing resolution, amazing colors, right? You have full RGB resolution or color capture, but yeah, it's just too slow. I'm not going to wait 10 seconds for one photo to be captured, right? That's 10 seconds of time that I don't have. Clement says, hi from Paraguay. As a non-pro, I'm okay with 20 megapixels. However, we'll wish sometimes space for cropping to adapt for different media and maybe a slightly higher flash sync speed. I think flash sync speed has reached its limit. It's not going to go higher anymore. Unless you go global shutter, then there's no limit, right? So that's the next step. The next logical step is going global shutter. But it's not about the world wishing for different media or whatever. It's just that I want some progress. I think we need some progress when it comes to Micro Four Thirds for them to stay competitive in the marketplace. Yeah. Okay, let's see. David says, I agree, and that's what I was trying to say. It's not a good look to say they are going to stay at 20 megapixels, even if average users don't need more. Yeah, like, give us something, right? Give us some progress. Richard says, 1442R has not measured up in the easy version on the EP5? What do you mean? 1442R versus the easy version. Why are you comparing two lenses? Doesn't make sense. Hey Mati, how are you? Mati says, hi everyone, more megapixels are never a bad thing. More megapixels can never ruin your photo. I agree. Take that from the real pro there. Nice to see you here, Mati. Ivor says, I feel like they are going to be moving away from that marketing soon enough. This will help them in a certain American market with our economy being a weak and chaotic it is right now. Yeah, but OM Systems is a Japanese company, right? So God knows what they're planning. Ivor says, I'm sure they saw this coming a long time ago. Yeah. Remember, they're still huge and steadily growing. But then they were not always doing well in US though, from my understanding since Olympus times. US is not really their largest market. Dusturbia says, do you think OM System will make it big if they will make their own version of the Lumix LS100? I think it's not just their own version. I think it can be a fixed camera with a 50mm lens or 35 or 28, I don't know. Something to compete against the GR3 or the Fuji X100 series. That would be amazing. And yeah, I think the zoom lens in the LS100 is a hit and miss. It's great, it's bright, it's quite sharp, but it's not quite there. And the sensor is also cropped. It's not fully Micro Four Thirds. It's a crop in Micro Four Thirds. So there's a lot of problems with LS100. The colors is weird. Autofocus is problematic. But if they can make a fixed lens version of that, it will be amazing. We have a super chat from Mike Cruz. Thank you so much. Thanks for all the tips and suggestions. No worries. I'll share as much as I can. If you guys haven't realized, I've been sharing a lot of shorts on tips, like release shorts, right? A lot of these tips I've shared before in my older videos. Nobody bothered to watch videos I made like 5 years, 4 years ago. So I'm recycling the tips in terms of, in shorts form or shorts format. Yeah, hopefully you guys find them useful. There's a magic OK button, black and white tips, JPEG tips, film simulation tips. So all of these tips I've been sharing at least once or twice every week now. So yeah. And thanks for the super chat, Mike. I really appreciate that. C-Line says, imagine reviving the trip. Yeah, Olympus Trip 35. That would be great. We talked about this before in one of my recent live streams. My, what you call it, predicted new camera from my system instead of the OM3, which I got totally wrong, was the Olympus Trip, right? Yeah. Okay, where was it? GTM3 after that says, I always take more megapixels. I'm not a pro or anything, but on my ZF using the APS-C crop, I only get 10 megapixels. Same when going into tight with the EP7. I know, right? Yeah. Thank you so much, Mike. Glad that you like them. Static says, I thought I heard OM planning to make something to compete with Canon recent vlogging consumer camera. No, they didn't. They say, we're not going to do anything on compact camera. Nothing. No fixed lens camera at all. It's not in our plan. We don't see any feasibility in that. Read the interview with Petapixel. Yeah. Matthew says, I have a chance to visit a photography show in the UK 2 weeks ago. Asked the OM System staff about the why no micro four thirds sensor in TG series or SZ2 compact. He said marketing think they won't sell. Oh, that's not true. TG series is like flying off the shelves. Whoever the OM staff is should be fired. Since my time in Olympus until now, the only camera that is selling every month without even OM System to do anything, that will always continue to sell and run out of stock, is TG series, the TUF series. They said they don't bother to update the specs at all, right? TG 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is like almost the same. Every 1 or 2 years they come with a new TG series. It will just sell automatically, right? It's robust, you can drop it, no problem. Go underwater, no problem. Freeze it, it's dust proof, no problem whatsoever. It's so solidly built. and yet it takes wonderful photographs. And it goes super macro as well. It's quite a remarkable camera if you think about it. And it's the only camera that will sell so well regardless of what happens. Like all the other things can do very poorly. OM1 or OM3 may not sell that well, but the TG7, the TG series will always fly off the shelves. Yeah. So I don't know what the OM staff is thinking about. And Z2 did not do well, but Z1 was selling like hotcakes. I think it brought in a lot of income for Olympus at that time. This was before my time, so I don't have the data, but Z1 was doing super, super, super well. It was an unexpected hit. It was a huge success for Olympus back then, but not the Z2 for a lot of reasons. It's more expensive, it's bigger, doesn't really have that much improvement compared to the Z1. And then Sony came out with the 1-inch sensor compact, so the Z2's 1/1.7 inch didn't really measure up to the 1-inch. So there are a lot of reasons why the Z2 wasn't as successful as the Z1. But to say that there's no potential in these compact bodies is just wrong. Especially now, even the TG series is doing so well in the market. Yeah, you don't see the charts because when the BCN ranking is being shared, it's about interchangeable lens camera, right? You don't see the compact cameras details or data. If you have access to the compact cameras data, you can see TG7 is doing so well everywhere in the world. Yeah, we always don't have enough stock to sell in Malaysia back in the day. Yeah. Eddie says 20 megapixels is enough, though even 16 is fine. The upscaling 20 megapixels, okay, highly recommend. So here's the thing, guys. It's not about, my question today is not about whether 20 megapixels is enough or not. Because this question is going to be subjective. Like for yourself, Eddie, it's enough. For me, it's enough. I didn't say it's not enough. But the question is it wise or is it the right decision for OM system to stay with 20 megapixels for 10 years now? And continue to stay at 20 megapixels without showing any improvement at all. No improvement in terms of resolution, dynamic range, or high ISO. They're just stuck. Is that a good decision moving forward? Will they survive just with the 20 megapixels in the world where 100 megapixels compact camera is the norm now, right? Yeah. Ifra says, I'm not sure if their marketing will change completely, but in the American and Western markets, it'll be more focused on the casual user or general public. Not true. It's still birds, wildlife so far. At this moment, it's what I can observe. Yeah. All right, that's how you do black and white photography. Black and white photography is amazing, right? I just love black and white. Matthew says, I read online that people suggest OM Olympus Trip or even stylus 35 film bodies put micro photo sensor. It can help OM to use enough sensor to convince sensor manufacturers to develop new sensors. Yeah, but they already said they don't want to do any compact cameras with fixed lens, right? That's like what was being answered officially by the representative in the Petapixel interview, right? As Zart says, Fuji's 40 megapixel files are not sharper than the 20 megapixel files from the latest OM sensor due to its direct sensor filter pattern and true resolution is lower. Yeah, don't compare it to Fuji. I don't know why people compare OM system to Fuji. To me, OM system is going to be superior to Fuji. Compare to say an APS-C, let's say for example, Nikon or Canon or even full frame, right? A full frame true, say 45 megapixels or 61 megapixels files. And you can see true resolution, Bayer versus Bayer. Because Fuji is X-trans sensor, right? So yeah, I'm not going to compare with that. Yeah, no reason to. Eddie says, check this out. You need a GPU with Vulkan 1.3 support to use a paid online version. Okay, whatever that is. Tilina says, I'm a Canon R full-frame shooter and recently bought an EM1 Mark III with 12-100 lens as a travel cam. Wow, that is a huge camera and lens for travel. I'm happy with the image quality, but let down with the autofocus tracking. Really? May I entice you to try this? Let's see. Robin Wong, Cluster AF. Okay. This was actually demonstrated on the EM1 Mark III, I think. I could be wrong. Okay, so Telina, here is the EM1 Mark III cluster AF tracking. I hope this will help you with your EM1 Mark III. So if you haven't checked that video out, please check it. I shared how to activate the cluster tracking, and I find it working very well for me when I want to do continuous tracking. It works really well. Skylar says, I'm moving to Tokyo next month and can only bring one camera. I will need decide between A6700, A5100, or Canon G5X Mark II. I would say A6700 because it's the newest camera. I don't think Canon G5X Mark II is enough for what I want to do. I don't know about you, so it's very hard to recommend which camera for you without knowing what you do or what your photography is or your preferences are. A5100 is too old. Not saying it's a bad camera. It's the only camera that you have. Use it. It's still a fine camera, can generate great results. I'm using a NEX6, right? It's even older than A5100. I still love it, the Sony NEX6. But to choose between these three, I'll say A6700 with the human face and eye detection, better image quality. Yeah, overall, it's just a better camera, right? More modern camera. Yeah. Richard says, sharpness is what I was comparing. Sorry, I may have a bad copy and we'll check it on the EM10 Mark IV today. Setting up the EP5 is a pain. Why is it a pain? Let me find my video. Robin Wong cheat sheet. So there are a few versions. There's a blog version and there's a YouTube version. Okay. So I'll just share the video version then. Share. Setting up Olympus cameras. So here's the video for you to check it out, Richard. Hopefully you find this useful. Yep, if you haven't checked that out. It's one of my highest hit, not video, but my blog. One of my popular blogs. It has been around for more than 10 years. So that says a lot, right? Jamie says, for me, 24 or 30 megapixels will be enough. One still can handle the files easily without the need for more powerful computers. I agree. I think 30 is a sweet spot because it gives enough jump in terms of quality or pixel count. That's 50% more than 20. And yet, at the same time, it's still small enough to handle, like you don't need to buy more SD cards or upgrade your hard disk, right? Yeah. Luis says, my reason for more megapixels is that as a street photographer, I want to print larger images of my shots. And upscaling is only so good and high resolution shot mode requires my subjects to be still. Yes. I think all across the board, we do need high resolution. As time progresses, higher resolution makes sense. Like previously, we say, oh, 20 megapixels is fine, but that's like 10 years ago, right? But now it's already 10 years later, and I think maybe it's time for us to have 30 megapixels, right? And it says, Sony makes the sensors for Olympus. Expect they would need to throw a lot of money to Sony to develop a better sensor. No, they already have the sensors, right? They're just not using. They are like, in the patents, if you read the patents, there are 35 megapixel sensor or 40 megapixel sensor. There are already existing Micro Four Thirds sensors. They're not being used by OM System or Panasonic. Yeah. Scarlett says, those are the three I already own. Thanks for the input. I love your content despite not owning Micro Four Thirds. No worries. Photography is photography. It doesn't matter what camera you use. A lot of the tips that I share about, like, I don't know if you watched previously my black and white photography sharing, right? The framing, looking for contrast, the shadow and highlight, layering. I mean, all those things are still, like, whatever I'm saying in this channel, generally they're applicable to everyone, whoever uses whatever cameras, right? Doesn't have to be Micro Four Thirds. Yeah. No worries, Richard. I've caught up with the comment. I'm going to drink some coffee, water, and then I'm going to share my second set of photographs. Yay. Gotta stay hydrated. Gonna straighten my microphone. Okay, drink more coffee. Okay. Second set of photographs were taken with this Tamron 90 f2.8 macro Mark III. This is on loan from Futuromic. Special thanks to Futuromic Malaysia, the official distributor for Nikon, Tamron, Samyang, Ricoh Pentax, and SanDisk. So I have to return this to them very, very soon in a few days' time. But I've got enough shots, and I'm very happy with what the lens can do. It's very sharp. Autofocus is very reliable. In fact, the autofocus of this Tamron on the Z5 is better than the Olympus 60 macro on the OM1. That's true, which was shocking. It just shows how technology has improved so much over the years, especially for the close-up shooting macro. The image quality is excellent. So I've shared a set of photographs last week. So this week is a continuation to that. It's not a lot. I think it's just about 10 shots or less. Images that I've taken with this lens. So yeah, flash was used on camera. So with the AK diffuser that Emily Taupin sent me all the way from the US. So Emily, if you're watching this, thank you so much for your help. Thanks for that. I really appreciate that diffuser. Okay, so let's look at the photographs. But first I need to open something. Not this one. Sorry. Where did it go? Ah, there it is. Okay. Okay, I need to go to Windows screen and full screen. Before I go on, I just want to make sure that this is working. Just give me a moment, guys, to check on my own phone. Just make sure this is working, yeah? Okay, come on, come on, come on. Okay, playback speed 2 times. Okay, it is working. All right, we are in business. Okay, so lynx spider eating a type of fly, I guess, or a beetle. I don't know what that is. So yeah, if you zoom in, there you go. You should be looking at the full resolution. I don't have a 4K screen, but this is a 21:9 screen, right? So the width is 4K, but the height is not 4K. The height is 1440, but the width is 4K. So there you go. That's the first shot. I was looking for all these dramatic shots of spider eating something or animals having sex, or it's not easy to find, and I don't have a lot of time doing macro. There's the thing, right? The more time you spend being out there hunting these insects, the more interesting things that you'll find. The more drama or the more action shots they can get, right? And I don't have enough time because I am, well, I don't know, some people think that I'm a full-time YouTuber. That's not true. I'm a professional photographer. I shoot for clients. I still have to meet my clients, do networking, shoot actual jobs, edit my photos, deliver to clients, and do all those things. And on top of that, as a side hustle, I'm doing my YouTube, right? And yeah, and I don't have like every day to just go out, whole day to just do macro photography. And I prefer to do street photography because it's easier. I don't have to sweat so much. So yeah, just by spending a few hours in the park or in the forest, hiking trail, there's only so much shots that I can get, right? There's only so many interesting shots. So yeah, well, the lesson here is I did not spend enough time out there shooting. I wish I have, but I have limited time with the lens. And with this time, I only have, I can only do a few macro sessions. So yeah. So this is the same spider and the same prey again, but from a different angle. All right, go to the other side to capture this shot. Okay, you can see the details. It's crazy. The lens is really sharp. Look at the texture and everything. Yeah. Okay. This is one of the shots that I really like. And a mantis eating a caterpillar. Right. Look at the mantis chewing the head off. That's just scary, right? Look at the detail there. Yeah. All right. And there's another shot. This was before, actually. I think the sequence is out of whack. This was before. So this is the head of the caterpillar is still intact. So the mantis, you can see, is trying to chew it off. And it's chewed off already. This is scary, right? Yeah. All right. And here's your very typical garden variety cricket. Not exactly my favorite thing to photograph. Normally, we see a lot of crickets here. There's so many of them that we just don't bother with them. And usually I use them as my test shots. So I just shoot 1 or 2 crickets, make sure that my flash setting is right, the focus is working, everything is properly set up and good to go before I attack other insects. So yeah, this is just your garden variety crickets. Dragonfly, this was a butterfly park in Kuala Lumpur. I only go there for dragonflies because they have a lot of dragonflies. They have a lot of different varieties. And yeah, look at the details of the compound eyes. Did I say that right? Compound eyes. Right. Look at that. That's scary, 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 scary. Look at the details. Yeah. I did not use focus stacking. I can. There is an option to do focus bracketing in camera. And I can stack them in post because everything moves. Even the dragonflies, the mouth moves, everything moves. And the leaf, everything moves, right? The leaf that is on moves. everything moves. But this was frozen because I used Flash, and the Flash has a very high shutter speed, or the Flash owned shutter speed to freeze the motion, right? So yeah. And it's just a butterfly because it's the butterfly part, so we have a lot of butterflies. I did not capture a lot of butterflies because I want things that are more dramatic. So in this situation, I can get close. So just 1 or 2 shots of butterflies, and that's fine. All right. And another dragonfly shot with the eye. Look at the compound eyes. This is the area where I feel that, yeah, focus stacking will be beneficial because the front of the dragonfly's face is already blurred. You can't see the details here. But this is where you really need focus stacking. But I don't really care. Still a good shot for me. I'm happy with this shot. So this shot, I took it a little bit further back so I can see a bit more details in focus, the front face and the eyes. But the eyes blur a lot quicker because I pushed the focus a bit to the front, but it doesn't really matter. I still quite like this shot. All right. Yeah. Just a few more shots. A lot of jumping spiders, but I've shown a lot of jumping spiders last week already. You can see the reflection on the eye. That's the shape of the diffuser, or the AK diffuser sent to me by Emily Taupin. Not really a fan of the shape though. It's too obvious. I prefer. And anyway, not gonna complain much. But the overall lighting, the ease of use of the diffuser is amazing. Just that I don't like the shape of the diffuser reflected on the eyes. Yeah. I think it's a type of grasshopper, right? Yeah, I managed to get the eye in focus. You can see the eyes in focus. Look at that. It's crazy, right? And look at the details in the body. That's insane, right? Look at the details. This is a mean looking grasshopper. And look at the wings here. Look at that. It's so cool. Look at that. It's so cool. Yeah. Another jumping spider. We are not lack of jumping spiders in the garden here in Malaysia. And they are jumping always, running around. So in this part, the fangs are in focus and the head is a little bit, the eyes a little bit out of focus, but I don't really care. Yeah, it's jumping so much, it's so hard to get in focus, right? The camera manages to find it and it just jumps away, or it moves. It keeps moving and moving and moving. And it's just, I mean, it is a jumping spider. I can't ask the spider, hey, stay still, right? It is what it is. So yeah. And this is the same spider from the side, but look at the colors of the body. There's blue, there's red, there's yellow. Oh, there's a dust spot there. I have to clean up the dust spot. Anyway, there's like green, and look at the patterns in the butt. My goodness, so beautiful. So that's the last shot already. All right, let's get back to the chat. I hope you guys enjoyed the sharing. We have more photos to share this round compared to the rest. Yeah, so I have the black and white photos in the first session, and then here, this is the macro shots with the Tamron. I have to return the lens very, very soon. So yeah, those are the things I've been busy with, doing macro, testing the macro lens. I'm not going to do a video, but I've made a blog article published today. I'll maybe make 1 or 2 more blog articles tomorrow or the week after. Yeah, I've been busy with the Tamron. I've been busy with the OM3 camera. I need to make content with it. I'm making the content with it. I'm shooting with it. So yeah, these are things I'm working on. Okay, before I get back to the chat, I think it's a good time to remind everyone that I have enabled membership. With just the price of a cup of coffee, you can support me. Join as a member, you get some really cool perks. You have early access to all my videos. You see my videos 24 hours before everyone. We have members only live stream. So for this month, it's happening tomorrow. You can come in and chat with me more intimately. I don't have to go through so many chats. And I'll prioritize my responses to your comments or your chats, whether it's in my old or new videos on this live stream. I'll reply to you first before non-members. And then, of course, I've taken down some older videos, the videos that were not performing well. The reason I do so is so that they will not pollute or they will not dilute the future algorithm. I want YouTube to continue to push my new videos to a wider audience. So these old videos that I've taken down include tips and tricks on composition, black and white photography, how to get sharp images doing macro photography. Like I've shown you how to really get those tag sharp in focus images. I've shared that already in the videos photos I've taken down. And of course, a lot of POV street photography where I share what's happening around me and in front of me before I click my shutter button. Right? You can join as a member. You have full access to all these videos. There are other ways to support me. You can buy me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal, or you can buy from my affiliate links from Amazon or B&H. Links in the description below. Any support is appreciated. It will go a long way. It will help me to continue making more content, share more tips and tricks, share more new photographs with you guys here on this channel. Right? Okay, before I get back to the chat, let's drink more coffee. We have 100 people watching concurrently. 103. Okay. Mike Cruz says, but will anyone pay 3500 for a 30 megapixels micro four thirds camera? Why would it have to be 3500? Like Sony and Canon and Nikon did not increase the cameras when they increased their resolution, right? OM systems should see profit in their eyes. Yeah. DW says, EP5 may not be as capable as NeuroPen. I still love it. If not electronic viewfinder on body, at least give me an option to add. Yeah, you can add an electronic viewfinder on the EP5, right? Like you get a VF3 or VF4. You just attach it and you have an electronic viewfinder already. Gregory says, in the film era, Nikon had the Nikonos series with fat controls and a huge optical viewfinder for underwater use. Will also be good for us all dexterity challenge people. True. Yeah, an external viewfinder would be great, right? Using with gloves in cold countries, right? In cold weather places where it really snows, like Finland or Iceland, right? Yeah, Yumi says, using the full potential of the 20 megapixel camera. Okay. Gary says, hi Robin, for me, the TG6 produced miracle images in low light. Of course. It's a tiny sensor. Like, what do you expect? It's a tiny sensor, and I consequently sold it. If OM would put a bigger sensor in the camera, I'll buy it tomorrow, even the size of the body increased. Yeah. I think for them now, it's like, camera is selling so well. Why would I want to, or why would they want to do anything different? That's the problem, right? They get comfortable in a lot of situations. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And that's a very poor mentality, right? They should continuously show improvement, which they fail to do so in a lot of their products, which is worrying, right? Louis says, I think people do know that OM is good for street photography, which is why I think people keep comparing Fuji. Fuji has branded well in street photography. It's all about marketing, right? And I think it's a poor decision made by OM Digital Solutions to push wildlife and bird photography, where I think Canon, Nikon, Sony also push the same thing, and they're doing very well in those areas as well, wildlife. Gary says, I think a larger body and controls will be advantageous for underwater photography. Yeah, I don't do underwater, so I can't comment on that. Ho says, I'm interested in TG actually, but don't pull the trigger because the sensor is too small. I agree. I think it's time for an upgrade. It's just strange that they don't care to upgrade. Eddie says, looking at the Sony side, they only have 3 4/3 sensors. 2 being 20. No, there are patents. Don't look at the sites, look at the patents. Patents being filed by Sony. Of course, these sensors are not being sold yet. They are created, but nobody buys them. So why would they list these sensors on their website? Doesn't make sense, right? All right, I've called over the comments. Surprising. Did I miss anything? Let me check just in case I did not miss anyone. All right. And we have Vic Roman in the house. Hi Vic, how are you? Nice to see you here. Let me just drink some more water. Gotta stay hydrated. It's quite a hot night. I'm sweating. You guys probably can't see that. Yeah. I need to cough water when... Okay, for those of you who have just joined the stream, just want to repeat what I've said earlier in case you missed it. There will be no live stream next week. So my weekly live stream is on Thursday. Next Thursday, I'm flying to Perth, Australia. I'll be spending about 1 week there. And live stream will resume the week after. So I'm taking 1 week break from doing live stream. I considered doing it on Wednesday, but then I noticed that Jimmy Chang from Red 35 has resumed his weekly live streams. And I don't want to clash with him. He's such a nice guy, and I do want him to have his slot as well, right? So I respect that. So I'm going to do it on Wednesday. So yeah. So next week, no live stream, and I'll be away for a while. But weekly uploads will continue as usual. New videos on Mondays and shorts on Tuesdays and Fridays. I don't know how long this is going to be. I never made any promises. I didn't put like, oh, new videos every Monday as on the banner, right? It's not a promise I make to everyone, but I have been staying consistent for years now. New videos every Mondays, and that has not stopped. So yeah. Okay. I will wait for a few more comments to come. Time check is 8 minutes to midnight. All right. So if there's any comments or anything, that'll be great. Yumi says, Australia, that's cool. Nice chance for more photography. In this particular trip, the timetable is quite packed. I may not have time for dedicated shutter therapy sessions. I will bring cameras and lenses, of course. I'll do some casual snapshots, mostly taking photos of food, friends, like group shots of me and my friends at locations. Not so much of like doing proper street photography. Yeah, and I think I should take a break from photography. It's not like I've never been to Perth before. I've been there many times before. I studied there. I worked there before. So yeah, I would love to do photography there if I can. Let's see if I can squeeze in a bit of time to do some shutter therapy. If I can, I would. But it's not a priority. I'm saying that I'd rather spend time with friends. I'd rather spend time enjoying myself there rather than spending my time or, being behind the camera all the time. I'd rather be just put the camera aside and just enjoy the moment, right? So yeah, and there'll be about just a few days. I'm going to catch up with some old friends and yeah, enjoy some food, go to some places, reliving some nostalgia. Hey John, you don't have to do that. Little Creatures, yes, that's in the agenda. My goodness, Little Creatures is so nice. It's this brewery at Fremantle by the ocean. John, I don't know if you know this, I shot a wedding in Little Creatures before. It's so cool, right? So on a Sunday, after the wedding, me and the couple, we drove to Little Creatures and we asked, hey guys, can we shoot here, like do our wedding shots here? And that time, the couple, they were dressed in like, full wedding gown and everything. And they said, yeah, go ahead. But on that Sunday, it was full of people in the afternoon, like so many people, right? So I said, okay, maybe we'll come back another day. So the couples agreed. Maybe we'll come back on Monday or Tuesday when there's less people. So the day after, right? So then I asked the people in Little Creatures, when is the time when you have least people? And it told us, oh, any day in the morning, 10, if you come when we just open, there's no people. So we came back the next day at 10 o'clock. There's no people. I've got some amazing shots from Little Creatures. Not sure if I can show you guys. Let's see if I can pull up my photography portfolio. It's on my portfolio site. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see, events, weddings. Let's see, where is it? Okay. Let's see if I can go to, where is that? Windows screen, yeah. Let's see if I can do full screen on this. This was shot at Little Creatures. Not this. This was in Kuching. How do I go back previous? This was shot in Little Creatures. With all the it's a warehouse, right? It's a brewery where they brew actual beer. Which is really amazing. Let me see if I have more shots. Let's see. This is also in Little Creatures, which was really, really, really cool. Yeah, with a harsh off-camera flash. There you go. Where was it? Let me see. Any more Little Creature shots? No, that's all. That's all I have on the Little Creatures. But let me see if I can exit this or if I can find, give me a moment to find more shots from that wedding. Since we have time, right? Photo. This may not be in 4K because this was got some time ago. I don't have a lot of shots here, but there's another shot which is in Little Creatures. Let's see. Yeah, this is in Little Creatures as well. All right. This is also in Little Creatures. Very nice place. Very, very nice place. Okay, enough of that. How do we get back to the camera and the chat? I miss those days. Anyway. Amir! Amir is a friend in KL, and yeah, Little Creatures Pale. I'm gonna order Pale. I quite like Bright as well. Have you tried Bright? Yeah. 15 will be no lah, John. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, just gonna enjoy myself there. And you've been so generous, John. You shouldn't be sending me super chat. I should be treating you coffee and food the next time we meet, right? Yeah. No worries. That's more than enough, John. You've been too generous already. Thank you so much for that. Vabagamoka says, for you, will be having a small vlog like what you did for your friend's birthday. I thought about vlogging for this trip. Again, I realized that every time I vlog, I spend too much effort trying to make sure everything is in focus, make sure the framing is okay. I have to talk and make sure the microphone setup is fine. There's a lot of thoughts going in, and I'm very bad at multitasking. It means that my attention will be taken away from the vlog, right? And instead of doing that, maybe I will just put it aside. I think I'm not going to vlog this time. I'm just going to be there, fully present, and just enjoy my time. I take a few snapshots for memories, group shots with friends of the location for memory. And that's one of the reasons why photography is so popular in the first place, for memory keeping, right? And yeah, instead of like, trying to make content, update my vlog, the second channel, or even make some photographs happen for this main channel. Say, hey, look, this is the best travel camera ever. 5 reasons why this OM3 is the best travel camera ever. Maybe, just put that aside, try not to work for once, and just really enjoy myself. And I think I deserve this break, right? So, yeah. Nima says, hi, Robin, I have been watching your YouTube videos, and I want to take the OMD EM10 Mark II as a first camera, so I want to ask which lens should I buy. Start with the kit lens if you have not done so. Then from there, you will spend some time with the kit lens for, I don't know, half a year or a few months. Take a lot of photographs based on the 1,000, 2,000 photographs. Look at the metadata and really study and understand yourself. Which focal length you use the most? Do you use 14 all the time, or is it 42, or somewhere in the middle of 25 or 30? This will give you an answer on which lens to choose next. Let's say you're always at 42 and find that it's always not enough. Then you need to go longer, then maybe you can get 40 to 150R, a telephoto zoom lens. Let's say you're stuck at 14, wide angle, you want to go wider, it's not enough, then maybe you can get 918 to complement the 14 to 42 kit lens, so that you can get a wider angle coverage for whatever shots that you're doing. Or if you're always in the middle, you're always 20, 25, 30, then maybe the 25 f1.8 is the perfect prime lens for you. So based on the usage of the kit lens, it will show a lot of limitations, and based on these limitations, you understand yourself better, your own photography better. It helps you to decide which lens to get next. I can't just throw you, get a 75 f1.8 because I love that lens, or get a macro lens because I love doing macro. Maybe you don't even do macro at all. Or I can throw a fisheye lens. Maybe you hate the distortion. It's hard for me to recommend which lens for you. The best thing is for you to do is to shoot more with the kit lens, understands its limitations, and based on these limitations, you will know what lens you want next, right? So yeah. Thanks, Foggy Woods. So the Foggy Woods is not really Foggy Woods, yeah? Let me see, pull out the photo again. Let's see. Let's just talk a bit about my portfolio. This is actually my portfolio site. The Foggy Woods weddings. Okay. Windows screen. So this particular shot, believe it or not, was haze. And haze is air pollution. And air pollution was very bad. It's due to the forest burning in Indonesia. And the smoke or the haze blew over by wind over to Malaysia. So we have that very smoky, very, very blurry effect in the background. It's actually not good. Not good for health. We are actually risking ourselves doing this photo shoot. This is by the beach in Malacca. So yeah. So anyway, just telling some story based on this background. So yeah, there you go. Okay, where was that? Oops, I think I accidentally closed the window. No, I need to open another window. Give me a moment. I've closed the window accidentally. YouTube. Why did I close that window? Studio, YouTube. Okay. Give me a moment, guys. Just want to make sure my setup is correct before everything went haywire. You think that I've gotten this figured out, right? After doing this for so long, like more than 1 year. Still things screw up. At least tonight, the video footage didn't freeze. Audio is fine. Like I was speaking muted last week. That was embarrassing. And there was one week, few weeks ago, it was streaming in non-4K. It was streaming not even in full HD, 720p. That was pathetic. Anyway, yeah. Scarlett says, I enjoyed you sharing the black and white photos earlier. My interest in black and white has been growing recently. Have a fun trip. Thank you so much, Skylar. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you like the black and white images. Paulo says, or asks, what's your everyday camera? Usually, if I'm not doing anything serious, it's either GM1. I generally prefer to bring a GM1 out if there's nothing serious, just casual, like capture snapshots of documenting stuff, or like the lunch that I ate, or the people that I meet, or the overpriced cup of coffee that I enjoyed, right? Or the EPM2. So these two. I also use these two cameras for my street photography a lot. But if I want to do something more serious, like case in point, the black and white photography earlier, then I will bring the other cameras like the EM1 or EM10 out because I prefer the grip and I prefer to have the built-in viewfinder and the powerful image stabilization. And this camera is a lot faster as well. It's a little more responsive and it's built like a tank, right? So yeah, there you go. But generally, if nothing serious, just casual snapshots, GM1, EPM2. But if I want like proper street photography session, sometimes still GM1, EPM2 it can do the work. But if I really want to be serious, I want to be sure to get the shots, then EM1, EM10. Yeah, hope that answers your question. All right, it is 4 minutes past midnight. I have caught up with all the chats. I'm glad that you guys are still here. Thank you so much for staying, and thank you so much for the super chats. Let me pull up the super chats. And so thank you so much, Luis, for the super chat. Thank you so much, Mike. Thanks for the generous contribution. Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much, and yeah, thanks for all this contribution. I really appreciate it. And that's it for tonight, right? I hope you guys enjoy the conversation. It's not really, what you call that, a conclusion that we can come to, right? It's just an open question. Is it a good decision for OM system to stick with 20 megapixels? And you guys have shared a lot of thoughts, and I appreciate that. I hope you guys have enjoyed the conversation. I hope you guys have enjoyed the 2 series of photographs that I've shared. The black and white series photographs I've taken with the EM1 at Pudu wet market, as well as the macro photographs that I've taken with the Tamron 90 f2 macro. If you've enjoyed looking at those photographs, if you've learned something, if you found this conversation valuable or beneficial, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or contribute directly to my PayPal, or join as a member, or buy from my affiliate links. Any support is greatly appreciated. Again, reminder, there's no live stream next week. I'm traveling to Perth, Australia next week. And live stream will resume the week after. But weekly uploads will still continue on, right? So until the next one, please go out, take more photographs, and take care. Bye-bye.